Hey, friends. If you happen to tune in and catch this, we're actually doing two things right now. One, we are doing a little test of our live stream system. But the other thing we're doing is wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to just kind of plant one big seed before we start our in-person worship services tomorrow. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we are right there and on the verge of this, on the eve of kicking all this off. So I want to actually talk briefly about the word grace. This theme of grace, it's one of the most foundational and important concepts in our faith, in the Bible, in our theology. In fact, some people would probably say it's the most important theme. We're saved by grace, one of those just classic and traditional lines and catchphrases of the Reformation and so much of church history. And here's what that kind of means, is that it's super easy, super natural, it's just very human to think that God will evaluate us and accept us and show favor to us based on how good we are. And he'll love us depending on if we are lovable enough. And there's this standard, and the closer we come to that standard, the more that God will show favor to us. That's a pretty natural way to think, because that's the way so much of the world works. But God accepts us and loves us by grace. And here's what that word means. It means unmerited gift. That's right. God's acceptance of us, God's love of us, is not based on our own merit. That is so radical that I think we just glaze over it without thinking about it. God accepts you without any regard to your merit, to whether or not or how much you have earned it. You are not only saved, but you are loved, and you are called a child of God, and you are adopted into his family no matter what. If you ask for it, it is a free gift, freely given, yours to take, yours to receive. And so grace is really, it should be like one of the things we celebrate in our faith. It's just that good. Hence the song, Amazing Grace. It is utterly and completely amazing. You are loved, and nothing you can do will forfeit it. You are accepted, and there's nothing you can do to make God change his mind. You belong to God, and that is a gift that is yours. And if you never have to earn it, then you also don't have to worry about losing it. What great news. God loves you and accepts you. Period. Full stop. What's the opposite of grace, though? You ever thought of that? And it'll sound very natural and familiar. The opposite of grace is simply treating someone like they deserve. The opposite of grace is just giving somebody what they've earned. The opposite of grace is considering somebody, valuing somebody, judging somebody, or treating somebody by their merit, by what they've earned. I've taught, I think probably every parent has talked to their kids at some point. Their kids have done something wrong, and why are you punishing me? You earned it. And, we do earn a lot of things like that, and we earn consequences sometimes, but that's the opposite of grace still. And as we kind of move towards this opening of in-person worship in our building, I want us to be thinking about what it would look like for us to be a people of grace. I've had this thing going on in my heart the last few weeks where I'm driving around and I see people walking, or maybe out here on the sidewalk in front of the church, and I find myself thinking, oh, I wish they would come to our church. That's this growing thought in me I wonder if that person would be interested in our church. And a few times I've seen somebody and there's something about them that sort of made me pause and if I'm really honest here, think, I kind of hope they don't come. Because there's something happening in my soul, this natural reaction that's evaluating and judging based on some exterior criteria. That's the opposite of grace. So what if we become a place of grace, a people of grace, a church where that's our defining characteristic, that we accept and love and welcome regardless of merit, regardless of what you've earned. And I hope and pray we have people that walk through our doors who think they're going to be judged and are blown away when they're not, because we treat them with grace. And I'm asking you to join me in praying that that will be our defining characteristic, a people of grace. And I will let you in on a little hint of how you can start practicing it. It's by showing us grace. Sunday, when our live stream didn't work, I can guarantee you all of us that were in here and on the stage were a little disappointed and discouraged and sad and frustrated and a whole lot of things. And there's probably a part of us that worried what people were thinking about us and about this. And I am so grateful for those of you who reached out and said things like, hey, don't worry about this. We're just working out the kinks. It's going to be great. And the person who emailed me and said, we've got a really good thing. The enemy clearly is going to want to disrupt it any way he can. So celebrate, because it means this is good and what's happening is good. And just so much encouragement and grace. And I'm just going to ask you to continue to show that to us as we feel our way into how this is going to go. And we're going to give you our very best, and I'm going to count on you to give us your very best. But we're not going to evaluate each other based on that. We're going to love and accept each other without consideration of merit. We're going to be a people and a place of grace. And we're starting by practicing with one another, hoping and trusting and praying and asking God to help us extend out like the ripples on a pond, this wave of grace that just draws people in to Jesus. May they see in us what God sees in them. Just welcome and love, no matter what. Period. Full stop. Thank you for your grace. Don't forget to pre-register for your worship service. And actually, those spots are filling up pretty quick. Invite you to consider that 10:30 service over in the Creek room, our multi-purpose room. And can't wait to worship in person with you. Thanks, everybody. Love y'all. See you soon. Bye.